Facebook, the book that's not a book. The apparent source responsible for the divisions in society is under fire again, likely because its ability to increase commerce and spread ideas is incomparable to any other system designed so far. But it's come at the cost of our data, time, and for some, even their own personal happiness. It's messed up, but complicated too. So today we're going to break down where Facebook went wrong and how the future of social media could finally make good on its promise to give people the power to build community and bring the world closer together. Before that, welcome back to Orbiter, everybody, where you subscribe for news and in-depth perspectives about the newest technologies and how we could advance civilization even faster. Chances are an algorithm brought you here, and hopefully that's a good thing, but by the end of this video, you're going to understand how the future algorithms that power social media may help to manage mental health, earn you money, and even truly create the digital square that it's always wanted to be. So let's get started. If you're anything like me, the first social media you ever used was Facebook. But never could I have imagined how a company I barely interact with could impact the world so deeply. But they did.
I used to work at Facebook. I joined Facebook because I think Facebook has the potential to bring out the best in us. But I'm here today because I believe Facebook's products harm children, stoke division, and weaken our democracy. The company's leadership knows how to make Facebook and Instagram safer, but won't make the necessary changes because they have put their astronomical profits before people.
Researchers have known this for years, but in October 2021, internal records and studies from Facebook were leaked to the press, confirming the fears that its practices are damaging society. Before those leaks, there were some things we did know. First being that nearly half of all internet users have a Facebook account, and they use the data collected from billions of people to target ads more efficiently. Second, Facebook doesn't acknowledge the value that content consumers contribute to the network, meaning the users, the infinite scrollers, don't get our fair share, even though it's our data that continues to make the algorithm better at advertising. Finally, it's a well-known fact that Facebook is addictive, and in recent years, the company has been expanding its efforts to hook children early on the platform. Although some people may ignore these risks, I think it's time we take a look at what's really going on here. Companies like Facebook, who also owns Instagram, are unique because their main product isn't the actual platform, it's you, which is why historical regulations for monopolies and data usage have fallen short so far. This leaves us with two options. Wait for elderly governments like the US to finally apply modern regulations to social media, or educate ourselves about solutions and take things into our own hands. Personally, I like the second option, but by the end of this video, you're gonna understand how community-driven efforts could help revolutionize our online life in the future. As I mentioned earlier, the users are the product, and if that's true, where's our cut? Currently, one of the most profitable business models consists of developing an addictive digital platform that's powered by user-generated content, while the company mines data from the time that users spend scrolling and interacting with that content. Although the experience on many platforms feels free, it comes at the cost of your privacy and allows algorithms to help companies target you better to buy random stuff. In the words of Andrew Yang, it's time to recognize that data is like the oil of the 21st century. In fact, in many oil-rich countries and even the state of Alaska, citizens receive an oil dividend as a reward for being a citizen and participating in the economy. But in the case of social medias, they take our participation for granted, mostly because regulators are behind on the times.
So, how do you sustain a business model in which users don't pay for your service?
Senator, we run ads.
I see.
But also because people have yet to realize just how valuable their data can really be. For reference, a recent study reported that internet advertising has shot up to nearly $140 billion since last year, with 50% going back to Google and Facebook alone. Unfortunately though, it's difficult to find out exactly how much a user's data could be worth, mostly because rates are subject to change, and also because there are no regulations that require them to disclose that information, so they don't. What Facebook does report is telling though. For instance, in 2020, they reported an annual net income of $29 billion, which was the amount earned after paying for salaries, computer servers, marketing, stuff like that, so a pretty nice profit. Oh, and did I mention they only paid 12% on taxes too? Well, I only bring that up to showcase how we're getting exploited on many different levels right now. In order to create a more fair social media, disclosing the true value of our data is the first step. And after we understand that value, something called a data dividend could be introduced, where a small percentage of the advertising profits are shared with users. After all, the value of a network is derived from its users. But even if that was out of the question, offering an alternative version of Facebook where users could subscribe would really help support consumer choice and protect our privacy even better. That way they wouldn't have to sell data to make money, unless you wanted them to. Facebook is one of the most valuable companies in the world though, but what kind of value does it really bring to your life? You would think it'd be quite a lot, since nearly 25% of humanity uses the app on a daily basis. But data leaks from the Facebook whistleblower have shined a light on how the platform is harming society. One leaked study titled "Does Facebook Reward Outrage?" found that the more negative comments a piece of content instigates, the higher likelihood for the link to get more traffic. Meaning that novel or radical opinion-based content was more likely to see a bump in the algorithm compared to neutral or data-driven perspectives, which kind of explains the subscriber count down there, huh? With all the talk of microchips in your arm and ox-headed men invading Congress, I think that's something you probably could have guessed. While another study concluded that over 13% of teen girls on Instagram say the platform makes thoughts of suicide and self-injury worse, and 17% were found to have an increased chance of developing eating disorders. Clearly information parents would have liked ahead of time. But whether you're an adult or a child, the platform is designed to incentivize you to compare yourselves to others. So it's no surprise that it systemically corrodes one's self-perception. Knowing all this, you may feel tempted to criticize Facebook, and you should. But what if I told you the solution to this problem may exist within a platform like this one day? Researchers are currently working on something called a depression detection algorithm, which uses AI to identify patterns in the text of your posts and comments, all for the sake of catching signs of depression early and helping to streamline someone's journey toward counseling or intervention. Assuming this doesn't turn out to be just another way to sell your data to Big Pharma, this could be a really promising way to promote a positive digital life. And as an added bonus, algorithms that identify language patterns really well could be used to help people identify untrustworthy sources for information better. Early versions have already been deployed recently, and they primarily work by analyzing keywords like flat earth, for instance, and then copy a link to Wikipedia in the hopes that the viewer will read about the consensus viewpoint. And I'm sure the flat earthers are doing that all the time. But Wiki isn't the best place for all information. So I'd imagine over time, fact-finding algorithms will eventually locate citations from a broader variety of sources across the internet and help speed up the research process for curious people. With the increasing amount of viewpoints and polarization online, we're likely going to need many different language recognition tools to help thrust us back into a world where facts actually exist. And it's not because people are dumb, but mostly because our new digital world incentivizes echo chambers full of opinion. What if this is perceived as yet another conspiracy though, and people feel censored or spied on? Well, I think those fears could be important drivers toward the development of a decentralized social media. And if you're not familiar with the concept, a decentralized social media is built on a blockchain, which can use cryptocurrency to help democratize the management and development of the platform. Not only that, but since the servers that support a decentralized network are distributed, instead of centralized like Facebook, for instance, it can offer increased security from hacks and protect from government censorship. But speaking of government, it's important to recognize that networks like this could be like governments themselves. So if you would prefer a digital square that doesn't moderate content at all, you could vote for that. Or if you prefer a platform that limits the collection of data, you could vote for that too. The best part of this is that decentralized social media could be run by the community and completely trustless since it's on a blockchain. Meaning trust isn't needed between each other since the information is secured by the blockchain and is unchangeable from any rogue employees or self-interested CEOs, essentially guaranteeing that the changes on the network represent the majority's will. With that in mind, even the concept of having a CEO could become a thing of the past with technology like this. So, sorry Mark. Speculations of corporate political leaning has given a bad name to big tech companies in recent years. And whether or not that political leaning finds its way into an algorithm, there is likely no solution for calming the fears of the public. Its centralized nature and unrelenting desire for profit over people are proving to be its downfall. That's something a decentralized social media may be able to fix though, primarily through having the network managed by a DAO, or in other words, a decentralized autonomous organization. You can think of a DAO as a programmable government that automates decision-making and helps reduce human error or manipulation. Of course, it's the users that decide how the DAO functions, but I only bring this up because social medias have become a second home for many people. And to me, it makes sense that some creators and consumers of media may desire a home of their own making one day. For all the power, wealth, and data Facebook has accumulated over the years, I still can't help but wonder if one day they'll also join MySpace into the depths of obscurity. But unlike Facebook, at least we knew Tom was our friend on MySpace. Most social medias so far have merely been stepping stones to the next one. But Facebook has stuck around because it adapted and bought out competitors. Like it or hate it, they did what any monopoly is supposed to do when governments are too ignorant or paid off to regulate it. But the real questions are, will Facebook have the capacity to work past its shortcomings and own up to the damage it may have caused to society? If not, when users demand their fair share, will they pay up? Or when algorithms addict and depress our young, will they modify them? And when users leave the platform for a decentralized alternative, will Mark Zuckerberg replace himself with a DAO? Doubtful, but time will tell. Meanwhile, I guess they're more focused on rebranding than fixing these underlying issues with the platform. So if there's a follow-up to this video, maybe they'll have a different name. Our time here is done though, but if you'd like to help me with my algorithm, you can smash the like button and let me know what you think down below. Also subscribe for regular content, and with that, I'm out. Keep orbiting, and I'll see you in the next one.